I want to back up to a game we were going to hit, Cowboys-Giants.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Especially the Cowboys offense.
Yep.
There were pass catchers running wide open. By NFL standards, wide open.
Yep.
I saw the TV highlights. I didn't watch the tape like you did.
Right.
How did they get that many guys that open?
Yeah, okay. So first thing is John McDonald here is a big Giants fan. Don't cry, okay? Everything's okay.
A lot of tears in this building.
Okay, come on, hold them in. All right, but Giants secondary, which we questioned through the preseason, they're not talented. That's the number one thing. The only guy that's a proven commodity there is Janoris Jenkins. Hey, Antoine Bethea is as well, but he's old. Like, he's very old.
Yeah.
I don't know what year this is. 13 for him? 12?
Well past
there?
30.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Jabril Peppers didn't play on passing situations in Cleveland last year. They took him off the field. DeAndre Baker, I think you heard some of my concerns about him coming out in the draft. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a nickel or a safety.
Right.
I don't think he can run to be an outside shutdown corner. Oh, and what did I see? Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper running by DeAndre Baker in some one-on-one situations. That was a little scary to me. But really the credit goes to Kellen Moore and then what they did. They changed their offense. They did. And it was from the get-go. And I wrote, first play of the game, Cowboys offense has a different look. Shifts, motions, and I wrote me likey. I mean,
I did see that.
Yeah, because I just was like, damn.
I thought it was your cursive and I couldn't read.
No, it was me likey, like me likey a lot, okay? So that was amazing. All right? They came out with a pass-first mindset, which is not always the case with the Dallas Cowboys. It's usually run on first, run on second, Dak bail us out. They kind of came out in this game and said, no, you think we're going to come out and run the ball? We're going to come out and we're going to back you off and get you off the line of scrimmage a little bit, and then we'll start to hit Zeke and Pollard and do that. That was nice. That's one thing that definitely I noticed. But the formation usage, more personnel usage, more movement, play action pass.
Yeah.
And when I say play action pass too, this is another thing. This is why New England's amazing in play action pass. They marry their play action passes with their runs. Dallas for years was, we're going to run the play action pass, but the offensive line is really doing a slide protection or making it look like inside-outside zone, right? So they're all kind of just going one way. And then Dak Prescott's behind the line of scrimmage acting like he's going to give it to Zeke and drops back. A lot of the times, like linebackers, they take a step, but it doesn't fool them. They go, well, nobody run blocks like that all day long. That's not a run blocking offensive line kind of move there. So they might be fooled for a step because of the flow, but then they get back, and then the play action pass is screwed.
Right.
What I saw in this game was play action pass, guards pulling. And now it's like, oh, the second level is like, oh, shit, here comes Zeke downhill and Zach Martin's pulling. Oh, gosh, oh, no, somebody's wide open behind me. That was a different aspect. And you know why most teams don't do that kind of stuff? Because it's really hard to coach. When a defense lines up in a different front or they bring a blitz or something like that, and now you have a guard that's pulling, the offensive line has to sort all that stuff out.
Defenses are taught to read the guard.
Exactly.
A guard
is a huge thing. Right. Guards are usually the key to the play. Right. So that was really refreshing on that side of the ball, let alone Randall Cobb, Gallup being in his second year, and Amari Cooper being there. They have three tough matchups one-on-one in the pass game. And Blake Jarwin and Witten at tight end that are going to give linebackers and safeties an issue in the pass game as well. So not only is the personnel good, but for the first time in a while, they're actually giving their personnel a schematical advantage to go along with it. And that's when you go, whoa, they scored on 5 straight touchdown drives. You know what I mean? Because that's what can happen.
I think about NFL-style offensive, like high-level formations, motions, to dictate to the defense, telling them this is what we want you to play. We want you to guard this tight end with that player, so we're going to line up here in motion here. I think about Andy Reid first when he does that.
Definitely.
And I listened to you Monday, and you talked about the ways he did it.
Yes.
When you compared what Kellen Moore is doing with formations and motions to what you see in Kansas City, it's a small sample size. It's one game, but how does that compare?
Yeah, well, like Andy's the master at it. He's the man. He's the man at it. And coming up with a new play altogether, or just coming up with a new look for a play that he runs a lot.
Right.
But he gives you a lot of window dressing beforehand.
He's the PhD A+ guy, the gold standard. So I'm not asking if it's as good, but are they doing the same?
Yes, they are. They are, and they ran some concepts that they've been running for years and years. But they did it some different ways to where you didn't see it coming. And I went, oh, there's their what I would call F angle play, because they love to have like 3 receivers to the right. The first guy runs a shallow cross. The second guy kind of goes upfield and kind of follows a shallow cross on like a tight slant.
Yeah.
And then the guy on the outside runs a comeback or maybe a post over the top, whatever it may be. They love that. It was such a go-to for Tony Romo. They did it in this game. They didn't forget about it because they're good at it.
Right.
But they dressed it up with some motions, or fake the speed sweep to Tavon Austin going one way, and then the concept was on the other side to open up the window of that play. Yeah. That's what a good offensive coordinator does. It's not always about inventing new plays. Yeah, I hope you got a few every week to do that.
Yeah.
But it's about dressing up your normal meat and potatoes to where the defense doesn't go, oh, here's the normal meat and potatoes.
Make it look different for a half second.
Exactly
with a little
right.
bit of hesitation, uncertainty, and there you go. I wrote down one thing that I thought was really interesting about the Cowboys offense that you, one of your observations, you said Dak's motion looks
Thank you for taking me there.
Looks better, looks different.
Yes.
How so?
Yep. And you know what, John, I'm going to stand up for a second. You ready for this? Here we go. Just from one, I haven't stood up with you in a while. This is exciting stuff.
I know.
Dak has always been a real like that kind of thrower, you know, and you've heard me say that. That's hard. He can get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, even Cam Newton gets away with that a little bit. Why? Because they're just big, strong individuals.
Talking about like a little too much over the top.
A little too much over the top. It's just not flowing. It's herky-jerky.
Right.
It's just like, it's not like we see Brady and Rodgers, who just looks like, oh, man, that was effortless. And whoa, that was 40 yards he threw that? It looked like he was throwing it 5 yards. You know, when Dak Prescott does it at times, you were like, damn, he threw that ball like he was going to throw it 50 yards, but it was really 10 yards he threw it because it was such a high-effort throw. It was so, and his front leg would locked out. I don't know who got in his ear, but his throwing motion on Sunday, 99% or 90% of the time, was a cross. I mean, it really was. And where it really helped him was like he ran the zone read or an RPO, and then when the slant was coming, he told the ball, and it was just, it was like, whoa, the ball flew out of his hand just effortlessly. And it wasn't like this, oh, let me do this, and then, where I give the defense also an extra read because my motion was so long and like herky-jerky and like, what do I want to say, obvious, that now the safety saw it all the way. When you do it like that, where you just zoom and zoom like that, man, you're giving your receiver that little split second that might be the difference of him making a guy miss. And now instead of a 10-yard gain, he made that guy miss and got 40 yards.
It's interesting. A couple minutes ago when you first started talking about Dak's motion, how you noticed it was different, you said, you know, before it wasn't like Brady, it wasn't like Rodgers. Those are the two guys I think about that changed their motion. They're tweaked it the most from college until now. They're a lot older. They've thought about it more. They've worked on it more. But those are two guys who have truly made little changes where I feel like with other quarterbacks, I'm going to change my motion. It doesn't look any different. No, it doesn't. But Dak's actually was a little different.
Dak's was actually, no, it was amazing.
What's the difference it makes when someone follows through to the side like that as opposed to straight down like you're traditionally taught?
Yep, good job, John. I'm going back. You know, I
just wanted you to stand up.
Yeah,
again.
well, no, because just think about it this. When you're going like this, okay, first off, if you want to throw the ball hard that way, your arm needs to go that way. Your force has to go that way. You know, so yeah, by doing this, you're applying all the force to the way you want the ball to go. If you're coming from here, okay, from here, your arm is going to go down this way. If you're going to punch somebody as hard as you could, you wouldn't go, like that. You would go, let me wind up and I'm going to punch him and go right through his head, right? This is the best way to apply power. You know, and that's the same thing with throwing the football. If you want to throw the ball 40 yards down the field on the line, well, your arm better kind of go on that line as well. If you think it's going to go from a really high point and then down to a really low point and you're still going to apply the same power, there's just no way. You might spin it really hard, right? And you might throw a real pretty spiral. But this is what happened to Peyton Manning at the end of his career. It got so like this, and he couldn't figure it out, and he started wearing a glove and all those things. But it was just from here to here. And yeah, you could throw a pretty spiral, but the ball's not traveling anywhere. It's not going anywhere with any velocity to drive it into, like you're saying, a tight window or down the field or whatever it may be.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.